How's it going, guys? Today I actually was asked to do a review by a YouTube user on wheels in general and what my preference for a wheel is. So today that is what I'm going to do. And actually I'm going to use my setup as an example. There's a wheel. There's some key things about wheels that are labeled on the packaging that most people don't either understand or kind of brushed off to one side and then later regret it for doing that. So I'm going to go over just different aspects of the wheels. First off, there are usually two types of wheels. There's the wheels that come with the traction on the bottom of it, so where you would be gripping the ground, you'd be able to, with your fingernail, be able to run your finger across and feel all the treads. And what that does is it gives you really good grip when you first are riding it. And then there's ones that come without it. So usually the ones that are a lot harder come with the tread pattern on the bottom, which gives you better traction. And then also the ones that don't come with it usually tend to be a lot softer. When selecting wheels, make sure that you look at the wheel's width as well. Picking out a wheel's width is very important, especially to what kind of skating you like to do. I've rode from the widest to the narrowest, and it definitely does play a huge role in how your skating is going to go. So the wheels that are the narrowest, as far as how the tread pattern goes, those ones are really good for sliding because you get less traction with them, and that's actually going to be more towards like the harder wheels. Those are wheels you would really want to use as far as if you go onto streets, especially like gravel, cement, concrete, that kind of stuff. When your wheels are really soft, it'll grip the ground a lot, and especially the softer wheels, what will happen is it'll grip so good and the ground will just tear it to shreds. So you want to get a harder wheel for a harder surface. That way you're able to slide as much as you can and you just glide over like the little rocks and you don't fall on those. Also, the wider wheels are really good for traction. They're really good at gripping the ground because they do offer a wider surface for the wheel to be rolling on the ground. Those tend to be in softer wheels, something you'd want to go and ride like skate parks in, for instance, especially if you like to do transition. You don't want to be completely sliding everywhere. And for those that skate parks that have really slick grounds, like there's a skate park here in Sirius, California, that has at the bottom of the sixth stair, it is as slick as ice. And with the softer wheels, you're able to grip the ground really well and to land your trick without the fear of totally slipping out. Which brings me to my next thing, the durometer. So with every set of wheels you get, there's going to be two numbers to focus on. You have one, your millimeter number, and that's kind of just preference. The smaller wheels are really good for lower center of gravity, which is good for your flip tricks. You get like the quickest reaction out of those. And also the bigger wheels are really good for people who like to ride their wheels out literally to the end and who want the most roll out of their wheel. People who like to do a lot of transition because you're not start stopping like a street skater all the time. You're kind of going back and forth. You're going at a more constant pace, and you want to have a wheel that's very reliable. So for people who like to do transition skating, I mean, it's not that you can't use them for street, but for transition skating in general, those would be definitely a good wheel to select. But the second number is going to be your durometer. And what that is that's the hardness and the softness of the wheel. The higher the durometer number, the harder it is. The lower the durometer number, the softer it is. So that kind of plays into what I talked about earlier, which is for your sliding and for your action on the ground. The harder the wheel, the easier it is to slide. So that would again allow you to, if you need to rotate just a little bit more and you don't want to grip the ground, especially if it's a really hard surface and you don't want to tear your wheel to shreds, harder wheel is really good. And then if you get with a lower durometer number, you get a softer wheel, which is again great for places where you really need the traction, you really need to grip the ground to the fullest potential, so that way you don't slide out, especially if you're going at a higher speed too. So definitely two key things to check out for. You'll find every company kind of has a little bit of a mix between the hard and the soft. There's no one company that specifically sticks to one or the other. You just might have a place that popularizes one brand with being a lot harder, one brand with being a lot softer. But with the hard and softness of the wheel comes flat spotting. The easier it is to flat spot makes it just as easy to get rid of it, which is what softer wheels do. And what happens when you flat spot, for some of you that don't understand, how to roll it over, you flat spot the wheel, and you flat spot it to the bottom. See where my finger makes the line? You now have to go all the way around at that same level to round off that wheel. So you lose that much around the whole wheel just to make it round again. So there's a lot of companies that like to be flat spot resistant. You could definitely just check the labels on the wheels at your local skate shop to see which ones those are. But for the harder wheels, it is a lot harder, literally, to get flat spots. But once you get it, it's just as hard to get rid of it. So definitely keep that in mind. And just make sure that when you're buying them, you're willing to either take the time to round them out again if you flat spot, or to fork over the money for a new set. My personal preference, I usually get about 52, 53s, just depending on what time of the year it is. Right now it's becoming winter, so I'm going to go with a little bit bigger wheels, so that way that they can last a little longer and I can roll over them a lot nicer, especially because I like transition skating. Skate street all the time, but if there's a cool little bank or a quarter pipe or something like that, I'm definitely going to be sessioning that up as much as I can. My wheels I'm riding right now, I do not put the graphic on the outside anymore. It's not a superstition. I just don't care what the graphic looks like. As long as it says Bones STF, Street Tech Formula, I'm going to rock it out. I do not care what the graphic looks like. It's just a graphic to me. But, definitely go to your local skate shop. Check out the wheels. Check out the numbers that you see. Make sure that you select the right wheel with the right durometer for you. And again, there's no specific wheel that really sticks to one durometer or the other. They are all a mix and match of the right ones for you. The wheels to stay away from are the ones that have the same. They're wheels that are the same brand as, like, they make shoes and they make decks, or they make this or they make that, because that's more generic. They're not specifically made by a wheel company. They're made by a board company that makes wheels. They're made by a truck company that makes wheels. So definitely go with the brands that are specifically made for wheels. They take the time and effort to make a good and especially a better wheel than the rest of them. So definitely stick with those. You will not regret it. So that should eliminate all the other wheels to not try right there, and to just stick with wheel companies that make wheels only. But with that said, I hope this helped you guys out in any way. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below, or send me a message on here or on Facebook. And make sure to check out my upcoming videos trailer on my other YouTube account, and I'll make sure to send a link on this one. But otherwise, have fun skating, guys.